Welcome to this video on finding the right spouse. I'll be covering 5 top tips on finding the right spouse. Tip number 1 is make a list of the kind of person you're looking for. And the reason I think it's important to have a list is because without a list, you really don't know what you're looking for. When you're looking to get married, people often ask you what you're looking for, and that also assumes that you know who you are yourself. And when you're looking to get married, it's hopefully a lifelong relationship that you hope to build a home with this person and maybe have children with this person. And you're looking at hopefully spending decades, if Allah Almighty gives you life and ability, to really build a home and future with this person for generations to come up till Yawm al-Qiyamah. So when you're looking to get married, you really want to make a list so you've got an idea of what you're looking for and what you're not looking for. Without such a list, you can easily get distracted by someone, and frequently people end up getting quite emotional. So you can meet someone and it might not be the person you're looking for, but they might give you a lot of attention, and you might just start feeling emotional that this person's giving me so much attention. And maybe for sometimes men might meet somebody and he feels like he can help her and he can protect her, and he can, she's got some difficulties, for example, and he feels really needed in the situation. He goes into rescue mode and he thinks, I need to really marry this person. What you want to do is really step back and think, what am I looking for in a marriage? And once you make a list, you'll have a better idea of what you're looking for. It allows you to stay objective. And I'd say approach looking for a partner almost similarly to how you'd look for someone for a job. If you had a business and you were looking for an employee for this job, you'd have a specification that this is what the job requires. These are the qualities which are essential. These are the qualities which are desired. And these are the must not haves. Don't apply if you have any of these things going on. And I'd say approach a relationship objectively. Objectively means not with emotions. There's plenty of time for emotions in the rest of your life. But as the saying goes, love makes you blind. And that's the problem with getting too emotional, that you could end up marrying someone who really isn't the person you're looking for. And once the emotions settle down, people talk about the honeymoon period, it's all settled down, and then reality sets in. How did I possibly end up with this person? This is not the person I was looking for at all, and it's all downhill from here. So stay objective, make a list. This is what I'm looking for. This is what I'm not looking for. These are the nice to haves. And in a hadith of the Prophet ﷺ, he said, a woman is married for 4 reasons: her wealth, her lineage, her beauty, and her religion. So choose the one who is religious. May you prosper. And that's from Bukhari and Muslim. And as well as men looking for someone who's religious, women also should be looking for someone who's religious and having their criteria. And so that's the first tip. Tip number 2 is look for someone with a good character. And hopefully this will be on your list: someone who's kind, honest, patient, has integrity, and someone that you think, yes, this person does have a good character and I'd like to marry them because of that. And one of the ways you can find out about someone's character is through meeting them. You can also ask them scenarios. So imagine, for example, this happened or that happened. How would you react? How would you respond? And by giving them scenarios, you get an insight into how the person thinks and how reasonable they are. If you just ask them, can you describe yourself? They'll say, yeah, I'm a really nice guy. And she'll say, yeah, I'm really nice. But if you give them a scenario, you get a bit of an insight into how the person thinks. So say, for example, let's just give an example. The lady, she's meeting a man and she asks him, we were planning to go out for dinner tonight and we've been planning it for a week. And then all of a sudden, work call you and you're about to come home and we're about to go for dinner. And I'm really looking forward to going to dinner. And work call you and they ask you to stay late, and someone's called in sick and they need some extra cover for the evening. So how would you approach that situation? And it'd be interesting to see how the person responds. He says, oh, if work are calling, that's it. I have to cover. I can't say no. I absolutely need to cover this. So you just become aware of the insights of this person, that maybe they're a people pleaser, they can't say no, and they're going to find it difficult to prioritize their family over the, people from outside. He might say, for example, no, I'll say to work, look, I'm really sorry, but I've promised my wife I was going to take her out and I've really got to stick to that. But, I'm happy to come in earlier tomorrow, for example, or something like that. So you can see the person's trying to be reasonable, but he's prioritizing his family. And if someone adds in extra things, I make du'as to Allah Almighty, help me make the best decision. Pray a quick istikhara, Allah makhdir me the right way, for example. You also got an insight into how the person thinks and what their values are in life. And you can come up with some more scenarios. That was just a simple one. So come up with some scenarios and put them to the person and think, how would you approach this situation? Tip number 3 is compatibility. It's really important to have someone who you are compatible with. And the reason it's important to have someone who you're compatible with it is because it means there's less likelihood that you're going to keep arguing about every little thing. So when you're looking to get married, you ideally want someone that 60% or so on the same page with. 60% is okay. So for example, if we're 60% on the same page already, then maybe 20 to 30% of the time there's a bit of a compromise. One person's compromising or the other person's compromising, or they're just kind of coming around, look, I'm really not that bothered about it. I really don't, let's just go with what you think, that kind of thing. And that could be 20 to 30% of the time. And then there's like a 5 to 10% of the time where actually, no, the husband really wants to do it this way, or the wife really wants to do it that way. And that might be the times where there's disagreements in the couple, there might be arguments, there might be tension. No matter how much you get on with someone and how compatible you are, there will always be some areas where you don't agree. It's just a part of being a human being. And you want to keep those minimum as much as you can. And so 5 to 10% of the time, there's this, some issues with how the wife and husband approach things. They've got different ways of it, and they need to work out how they're going to resolve those issues and how they're going to move forward with those issues. But you don't want it to be, oh, we only really agree on 10, 20% of the things. And there's 80% of the time we're arguing about every other issue, how to, manage the house, what to eat, what color the curtains are, how to spend our money, where to go on holiday, what kind of car to drive, what kind of kids, how many kids you want to have, are the kids going to be homeschooled or going to, just everything can become an issue. So you want to have someone who's got a reasonable way of thinking and, you think, yeah, we've got a similar outlook, similar kind of values on things. Obviously, people's values change with time, and you're not going to be the same person in 5 or 10 years' time. But you think, well, there is some similar ways that we're thinking. It's not completely, he's from Mars, I'm from Venus. We're kind of on the same page. The next tip, to assess someone is respect. I think it's really important to respect the person that you're looking to get married to. Love comes and goes. So if you're looking for love, love comes and goes. And as you might hear, love is a doing, it's a verb. It's about how much you put into that relationship, and it's about building love in a marriage. But respect is something different. I'd say it's important to ask yourself the question that if in the future you had a son or a daughter and they turned out to be like this person, would you be happy with that, yes or no? And I think that's a really important question, because when you ask yourself that question, it gives you a chance to be a bit more honest with yourself. I've spoken to people who are like, I really want to marry this person, and she's, I'm going to, get married to her. She's really good and we really get on and she really needs me or whatever. And then I'll ask the man, the brother, ask him, well, just as a general question, if your daughter grew up to be this woman, would you be happy? And he really hesitated. And at that moment, he could see that actually he wouldn't be happy. And the reason he was thinking about getting married to this person was more because he just felt needed. He felt attracted to her because she was giving him a lot of attention. He felt needed. He felt he could help her. And he was probably thinking that he could change her. And sometimes we do that unconsciously. You might meet someone and you might think, yeah, they're not exactly what I'm looking for, but I'm going to change them. And there's no guarantees anyone's going to change. She might be trying to change the man. The man might be trying to change the woman. And you're really kidding yourself about who this person is. and there's a big difference between who they are and what you really want. But because you don't want to face that reality, you just kind of convince yourself, she'll change. She will start wearing hijab. He will stop doing those things. He will get a job. He will start praying. Well, what if they don't? What if they don't? So be honest with yourself. Is this the kind of person, as they are, that you would be happy with your son or daughter to be? And if not, that's a red flag. And if any red flags come along at this time, when you're considering someone for marriage, take a serious note, because you only often get a glimpse into someone's life when you're considering them for marriage. If it's not someone you know very well, if it's someone like what most often happens, it's someone you're just introduced to, you only get a few glimpses as to that person and who they are. And any red flags really need to wake you up that there is an issue here. And it's really interesting because I've asked people afterwards who have got divorced, and I've just asked them, as were there red flags before you got married? And normally they do say there were red flags, but because I was so emotionally involved, I didn't take notice of them, or I thought they'd change, or I convinced myself. And so really be honest with yourself. Don't lie to yourself. Often, we don't realize, but we can end up lying to ourselves because we just want things to work out. So be honest with yourself. And tip number 5 is pray istikhara. So pray salat al-istikhara when you're considering a spouse, and really make that dua to Allah Almighty and listen to the outcome. As funny as it might sound, listen to the outcome. I have come across people that have prayed istikhara for marriage and they said it was negative, but I still got married to that person anyway. Maybe there was some parental pressure or whatever else, but they really knew that istikhara was not to marry this person, and they got married. And sadly, in that case, it didn't work. So may Allah Almighty bless us, and Allah Almighty bless our marriages and help us to make wise choices and good decisions about the future. I'm going to end with a quick dua for Palestine and Gaza. May Allah Almighty bless the Muslims in Palestine and Gaza and all around the world, and help our ummah to become strong again. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.